The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar is directed by Wes Anderson and it stars Ray Fiennes, Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, Ben Kingsley, and Richard Ayoade. And it is currently available on Netflix with audio description. It is technically a short film because it's not feature length, so it's actually something you can knock off pretty quickly if that's something that you want to do. It's also Wes Anderson's second release of the year, which makes it sort of interesting. I originally thought this was aimed for December, and then they moved it up to September. I think probably because Netflix has such a crowded schedule this year for awards contenders. All they really need to do with this one is just drop it. And it'll be considered for best live action short. So, done. I don't see how they don't nominate this. This one's in the bag, so to speak. It feels different than some of Anderson's other projects before, and just like Asteroid City, it feels like he's evolving a little bit, but he's not running completely away from his usual tropes. There's a little bit of Andersonisms in here. It's just not so heavy like it has been before. For a while there, his films were like really obviously Wes Anderson, very Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest Hotel, of that time period. He was very much right in the middle of his comfort zone. And I thought Asteroid City was trying to do something a little bit different, and even though it wasn't my favorite Anderson piece, I appreciated it for that. Here, I think he also is trying to do that as well. Just the constraint of being a short film limits him to how many people he can have in this film. So he can't do his, Avengers Assemble cast, where he brings half of Hollywood along with him into one film. So just by reducing the amount of major names in this film, it's like the smallest thing he's done. It's the shortest and smallest thing he's done. Some of these characters even play more than one role, so it's like they could have hired another actor, but he limited it to just these 5 and had them sort of double up, so that way they also played one of the minor characters. There really isn't much to say about this. It feels almost like an audiobook. It's so heavily done through character narration that I kind of missed out on anything special that was happening with it. At the front of the film, when the credits are being read off at the very beginning, the audio description will tell you how the style of the film and how it's shot. Basically, it tries to explain to you what it is that you're actually watching, because it almost sounds like you're listening to an audiobook. There's very little opportunity for the audio description narrator to jump in and give some kind of description about what anybody is wearing, what anybody is doing, where we are, anything like that. So you get a cursory note of how Anderson has chosen to present the film, and then the film just kind of goes, and it really is a little bit like an audiobook. It's listening to these 5 terrific actors sort of deliver the story pretty much, I would guess, pretty close to how Roald Dahl wrote it. I think they're just able to read it in the length of time, and get it all out there. It's not necessarily the preferred way that I would have liked the story. I think it would have been more interesting if Anderson had truly tried to adapt this, and done something really unique and interesting with it, instead of constantly talking about what a character is doing and just giving us like the rundown, which is what it feels like the film is always doing, is telling a story. It might have been nicer to really sort of just see the scenes without the per- persistent, pervasive narration. Um, but like I said, it's something different. I don't think Anderson has done this before. I don't think Anderson has done a film where it's just like nonstop narration. So kudos to him for trying something different. He tried it in short film format, which is another thing we haven't really seen from him. And I think it's you know, it's a nice little adventure. You know, it's usually we don't watch live action shorts in general because they so rarely ever get a platform. They're like, you have to seek them out on YouTube or know a bunch of college students or something to find these live action films that are also, you know, of a shorter length. They really aren't ever given major casts like this. You know, I mean, we're not usually ever talking about a film that's this long that also has like Academy Award winners and nominees in it. It's just, it's very different, and it's nice for Anderson to step into this world and remind people that short films exist too. Sort of like how last year I felt the same way about Werewolf by Night. I was really disappointed that for whatever reason that had no possibility of nominations. I think Disney should have set that up so it could have been nominated for something. But this is at least set up so that it can be. It went around to the festivals. It did what it was supposed to do. So you can check it out now on Netflix. It's it may not wow you. It just depends on what you're looking for from this film. If you're a big fan of Roald Dahl and you just are trying to absorb everything he's ever done, then you'll probably like this, because I feel like Roald Dahl would have liked this. I feel like Roald Dahl would have been like, yeah, you just took my words and put them into a film. Literally. You know? And it's fine. I can't get too excited about it because, like I said, the narration just kind of gave me like an idea of what was happening. But then, like, as that magic is occurring, as the imagery is being shown, I'm not really getting any updates. So I can't really tell you too much about what the film was like. Although I also can't say the film is unwatchable because it actually just feels like storytelling. It feels like just it feels like an audiobook to me. So it's a very strange film, but the actual film aspect of it was a little lost on me. But I also don't know that the narration could have done anything else. I thought it was very brave of them to put it up at the beginning and to say, hey, look, this is how the film is being presented. There's nothing we can do about that. Hashtag sorry. You know, just like, this is what we got. We'll try. And then I after watching the film, I was like, I get it. I get why you had that mention at the top, because you knew that if you didn't put it at the top before everybody started speaking, there's almost no purpose in narrating film. There's really just it's almost erased entirely. So delightful performances from these actors who did a really good job of landing the dialogue, the lines, the quirkiness of the characters, and reading it sort of very flat and straight the whole time. It was an interesting experience. That's all I can really say. Just sort of like how I felt about Asteroid City. Is it the best thing Wes Anderson's ever done? No, of course it's not. But I think it's an interesting film that came out this year and is worth checking out because it's not very long. So it is. I think it's like 40 minutes. If I had to guess, I would say about 40 minutes. So that's it. I'm going to give The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar a B, which is a notch higher than I gave Asteroid City. So that's it for me. You can check it out. It's really easy. It's on Netflix. And you'll at least see one of the live action short nominees this year. There's no way this doesn't get nominated. There's no way that the Oscars turned down something with this cast in live action short. I just can't see that happening. And with Wes Anderson as the director, unless they feel like it's unfair to the rest of the competition, and they're like, this is not, like, how do we nominate these other people against Wes Anderson? You know, it's not really fair. Anyway, but I just can't see it missing. So, future Oscar nominee here. Anyway, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 200 this year. Break 200. I want to break 200 before the end of the year. So, click subscribe. I also have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what film is available and where with AD and where you can watch it. And the ADNA.org will let you know who's narrating what. That's it. You can check out my next review, and I will see you guys on the other side.